A new political battle is taking shape over voter registration, this time in Massachusetts. At issue is the state's effort to increase voter registration by welfare recipients. For supporters of the effort, it's a way of protecting voter rights. But Republicans, including U.S. Senator Scott Brown, say it's about stacking the electorate in favor of Brown's Democratic challenger, Elizabeth Warren. The state recently agreed to more outreach by mail after legal pressure from groups trying to increase registration around the country, with support from a national organization called Demos. Among the groups bringing the pressure in Massachusetts were the NAACP and the New England United for Justice. We'd like to welcome from New England United the president, Maude Hurd, and the executive director, Ramos. Thank you both very much for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
I want to start with Maude Hurd. Some people might think this is just about welfare recipients, but actually this is about a federal law that goes back to 1993, and I guess
1993. Actually, this law was enacted in 1993 when the federal government put this on the into law.
So, which people are they supposed to try to get registered?
Well, there's several groups of people that the law take into consideration trying to get registered. One is anybody that receiving public assistance, and that include at the time it was called welfare, and people going to register their cars to be for
and enlisting in the military too.
And enlisting in the military, correct. So those was the groups that were always was involved in the original.
Ramos, there are the states that are catching up with the law after feeling some legal pressure, but maybe with one exception, they're not sending out anything in the mail. So why is it being done this way in Massachusetts? And it is costing a couple of $100,000 to do it. So what's going on here?
Well, you know, I think, one, we're really excited to work with the state and work with the DTA office. You know, the mailing was a part of an interim agreement that we have reached with the state, and, you know, we're currently still in negotiations around corrective action steps that we need to take here in Massachusetts. There is other states, for an example, Missouri was involved in a similar effort to make sure that that state was actually, you know, following the law federally, and they actually provided a mailing to all of the recipients in their state. So this isn't a new thing. We actually applaud Massachusetts for taking this corrective action step. We're talking over 477,000 families that would have received this letter this past July. And so I think, you know, they've taken some extreme measures to really kind of take a back step at what they needed to correct before looking at ways that we can improve moving forward.
Well, I heard, of course, the Republicans, people like Scott Brown, they see this differently. They see this as the state trying to more or less tilt things a little bit to give the Democrats more votes.
Well, United for Justice don't see it as a political ploy at all. We see this as a way to register people that probably wouldn't be able to register otherwise. So that's the angle that we are looking at, is the angle of people, especially low-income people, that tend not to have access to registering to vote. And hopefully these people will go out and vote.
Maybe, I guess the other thing here is that this has become not a legal debate now, at least not exclusively, but you've got candidates talking about this, naming people's names, and you know, I can see this as Scott Brown trying to, I guess, mobilize people who would tend to be easily antagonized against people who receive public assistance.
I mean, I think, you know, at the end of the day, we need to remind ourselves that this is a law. Right? It's a law that passed in 1993. It's a law that's been on the books for a long time. And, you know, through our findings and within our allegations, we found that Massachusetts isn't registering people to vote. You know, when you look at how many families right now are on public assistance, I mean, the economy's still trying to rebuild itself. There's a lot more families right now receiving various social services. This is an amazing opportunity to make sure that those people are registered to vote. And that's what our mission is, right? Especially in low-income communities of color across Massachusetts. I think it's really important. And I think that both, you know, our elected officials at a local level as well as a national level should applaud this, right? In ensuring states are doing the right thing and following the law.
Well, I heard you've probably seen the pattern in Boston and how it's changed over the years, especially in neighborhoods where you have mostly people of color. The voter registration, the voter enrollment is way up. Do you think that makes life any different?
With the voter enrollment being up, I think it makes life a lot easier for a lot of folk. I think people get involved and then they have an invested interest in in what's going on politically. So I think it does have a very, very interesting and very profound effect on people, especially low-income people, which tend not to vote as much.
Thank you both, Mimi Ramos and Maude Hurd from New England United for Justice.